working with children and need fresh and innovative ideas? Stay tuned, guys. This video is for you.
So as we said last week, we will be diving into the doing stage, which is really resonating for me as my daughter is going through this as I speak. So just to recap the doing stage from our last videos, it is between 6 to 18 months, and it is a time where the child is looking for a lot of stimulus. So touching, hearing, listening, looking. They are out to explore and to learn what is really safe. And they are really looking for us as their caregivers to really help them and to allow them to have that space to explore. So just a quick note before we get into the developmental jobs. We're going to be looking at the jobs as building blocks or pieces of a puzzle. And the important thing to remember is we never stop growing up. So whether you're dealing with a really young child or maybe someone in their teens, there is always something that we can do to allow that person to have an opportunity to develop and for them to learn the tasks that they may not have been able to access at a younger age. So some of the developmental jobs or tasks that will be involved within the doing stage are: the child needs to learn to use all their senses to explore. That means this chair is blue, the wall is blue. What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does it sound like when I touch it? These are key things that at this stage the child has to have permission to do. Another job that the child needs to learn is they need to learn what is safe and what isn't. This could simply be learning that the oven is hot or the rose that has the thorn is prickly. And a lot of this is learned by trial and error, and some of this is also learned by the role of the carer in teaching the child and helping them to learn the consequences of their actions in a protective way. Another job is the child needs to begin to develop some level of initiative. So the child needs to not only wait for mummy or daddy or people around them to offer them things to engage, but they need to learn how to maybe go to the kitchen and rummage through the cupboard, as my daughter likes to do, or find blocks and play with them, or work out how to get the cup that is on the table. These are very important, and the role of the grown-up is to give the child space to work out these things on their own and offer support where it is needed. It's also important for the child to further secure the attachments that they have with the carer. As we spoke about this in the being stage, as the child begins to explore and take risks, it's important that they know that they have a place to go back to. A place where they can get support, or a place where if they've hurt themselves, they can get some healing, or a place where they can just really be themselves and feel safe. A child also needs to feel that they can make mistakes. If a child is maybe trying to learn how to use their tricycle, or is maybe trying to use their Lego for the first time, they need to know that it's alright to not get it right the first time, and that learning makes loads of mistakes, and it's okay. So that's a very important message and developmental task within this stage. And the last one, which we will look at, is they need to begin to start developing problem solving skills. So as I said with one of the other behavior tasks, they need to learn, how am I going to get this cup from this shelf? How am I going to get this triangle block into this hole? How am I going to get that adult to give me that sweetie that I really want? So this is a time where the child begins to learn how to solve problems in innovative and creative ways. And as we carry on our journey through some of the other bits of the cycle, you may start thinking and start noticing that some of the behaviors may be identical. So it could be a behavior that we speak about in the being stage could also creep up in the doing stage. And I think now would be a good time to just really make it clear that what we're really trying to deal with are the root causes of some types of behavior. And I think the easiest way that I could illustrate it is again with a story about one of my students who was and is still quite touchy, quite fidgety, and quite huggy, if that is a word. And at first glance, we really felt that we had to start working with him about boundaries. So we felt that it was a boundary issue, that he needed to learn his role and our role. Upon kind of greater reflection and more understanding of the cycle of development, we began to understand that actually in this young person's life, he had no friends and he never had the opportunity to learn the skills of how to show appropriate affection. So our interventions were no longer directed at lack of boundaries, but our interventions then turned into how can we equip him with knowledge through education and through scenarios about how you can show appropriate affection to those that you like or are fond of. So 4 behaviors that may indicate to us that a young person may have some difficulties within the doing stage is they may exhibit a real lack of initiative. And this could simply come from the fact that they may not have been given the chance or the ability to explore and to problem solve. And because that has not been developed, they are unable to solve problems without direct support and instruction from adults. You might also come across people who are very fidgety and can't sit still. And one of the main reasons for this could be within the doing stage that child did not have the ability to explore. And so we're using this time to touch and feel and explore as much as they can, which can sometimes be in an unhealthy way and can sometimes stop them from gaining as much from lessons or from moments where concentration and being still is really important. Another behavior is you may find someone that is really overly cautious. A lot of the time, this behavior comes from parental messages, which mean well, but can sometimes fill the child with fear to the point where something as simple as walking outside can really bring a lot of anxiety as they play through their mind all of the possible wrong things that could happen. And the last behavior that we might see is we might see a child that finds it really difficult to try new things. And this could simply just come from a place of being afraid to make mistakes. And so because you are afraid to make mistakes, you won't bother to try anything new. You will only do things that seem safe and seem comfortable. So next week, guys, we're going to be diving into some strategies that may help some young people who may have some difficulties within the doing stage. So if you've liked this video and you want to hear more, please leave a like, please subscribe and leave a comment. And I will, as always, see you next week.